Hey folks, welcome back. So last episode we added in our custom data save logic. Um, After that episode I did a little digging because we did have that issue where for some reason this function here wasn't spitting out all three components, it was only spitting out two. I actually found a way to refactor this a little better. So we are going to start off with making some changes here, and then we are going to move into the couple of other items I mentioned last episode, and that is game instance. Where are you? There you are. The requirement we have for setting an actor's GUID after we've spawned them in, and just some general cleanup. So, first things though, we're going to fix this function. So we do need to keep this return. However, we can get rid of this chunk here. And what we want is F string L side for left side, if I could spell, and R side. And then we want while source dot split, and we want that to be split. We want to reference the left side and reference the right side. I am unable to hit the right keys today, it seems, or get my case incorrect. And it's complaining about using split. How did I do this? I had this working when I tested it. What do you expect, an F string or a string? Const F string. Split char equals split. Is that how I did it? Can't believe. Get rid of that equals. Is that going to do it? No. Can we just do it that way? Actually, I think that's what I did. Now, let me just check here. That was it. Anyways, so ret.add L side source equals R side L side dot empty. And then if the R side is not empty, ret.add R side, and then return. So just going to quickly build and test this one here. I had this working. I'm not sure why I had to struggle so much with this, but we'll give that a quick test. Throw a breakpoint there, and the editor's loading up pretty quickly here, so shouldn't take too long. All right, let's move that content browser out of the way, and we'll hop in here. Now, as I mentioned in the last episode, we're wanting to do unique player data. And there's a reason for that. And that is, as I've mentioned previously, the player character is spawned every single level. We're not possessing something, so... Anyways, we're going to quickly test this, so let's run forwards, we're going to save, we're going to move off to the side, we're going to run, and then ignore changes. So now you can see with that, we are getting the 3 parts, and it didn't drop in, so let's go into there, drop in. Why are you not wanting to... What do you mean it's not found? It's right there. Well, it is working, as you can see. So I will dig into that, see if there's something weird going on with my setup. But anyways, now that we've got that little refactoring out of the way, and that's something I wanted to address at the start of this episode because it was a general improvement over what I had done previously. The next thing we're going to do here is, as I mentioned, we are going to address this set actor GUID. So what we need to do there is go into our save actor interface, and just like everything else, we're actually going to move this up at the top here because it's a related function. We're going to add void set actor GUID const f GUID reference new GUID. Copy that. And then we're just going to add the implementation portion there. Bring these back. Create the default for that. So we've got this here. We're going to want to add that to our character base. So we're going to open this up. You can see we have the get actor. We have the get save data. We do also now need to add in the set actor. So we're going to add that in here. And I believe that's all we are going to get save. So get actor save, get save data, save ID, make sure we got those, get actor save data. Yeah, so what we are going to be doing with this function is if save actor ID dot is valid, we want to invalidate the current one. And then we want to save actor ID equals new GUID. So what this is doing is because we have both as part of the constructor and the begin play as a precautionary, we're automatically assigning a GUID. What we want to do here is whatever one is already there, we want to invalidate. And then we want to assign the one that's passed through. It's simple as that. So now we can go back to our game instance and we can go, what are we looking at here? This is spawned actor. Nope, we want enter, sorry. Set actor GUID, and this is going to be sad.key. And what we're doing here is we're assigning the GUID ID, well, that's what it stands for anyways. We're assigning the GUID that we have from our save information to the actor that's been spawned so that it's always retaining this same GUID. So that was that minor change there. Now the only other thing, as mentioned, that I wanted to cover this episode is player specific information. And again, the reason for that is we want the player to not be part of this general information. We want it to be directly accessible very quickly because the player is the one character that is across every level. So let's just quickly clean up some of these here. Don't need any of this. So we're going to open the game instance header. We are also going to open the save game header. and then also the save game source file. So first of all, in the save game header, we are going to add in a f save actor data variable, but we want u property player data. Then we want to add in the relative functions for that. So we want a void set player data, f save actor data, and f save actor data get player data. And we'll just quickly define and create both of these. So player data equals data and return a player data. So that's quite simply the only change we need to make to the save game object or class. So we can do that here. Now back in the game instance, we want to add in a new function, void gather player data. And we also want to add in that player data type. And actually we want to add u property to these so that garbage collection doesn't start clearing these up on us. U property. Now, one thing we need to do here is actually, it's going to be in the player character. I forgot this at the start. So we're going to open up the header file and the source file. We're also going to want to grab the character header file just quickly. We want to nope, actually we're good there. So don't need to edit the character file. We do need to edit the player character file though. So we want to go to our begin play function. Player character, begin play. We want to call ATF character begin play. Then we also want to save actor. What are we calling it here? Oh, it's private. That's why we need to move these to protected. Actually, I'm going to clean this up while we're here, just as I've mentioned before, my personal preferences, keeping these in a particular order. And save the file. Okay, so save actor ID dot invalidate. And the reason for this is we do not want this to be a valid GUID. The reason being, when we go back to our game instance, we're going to look at our gather actor data for a second. We have this right here. If the GUID isn't valid, we're going to bail out. And that's going to mean, based off this, we're never going to save the player character. That's fine, because we have added in this particular new function that we're actually going to use as part of the gather actor data. And then we're going to go, what do we... gather player data. Gather player data. We're going to call this here as part of that. So now we're almost doing the exact same thing here, but what we are doing is we are going to be going a u gameplay statics get player character. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we want to AATF player character. We don't have a reference for that. We need that. game instance. Actually, no, we don't even need to do that. We can just reference it as an A character. A character. And again, so yeah, get world. And again, because this is a single player game, we just need user index 1. And then get rid of this for a second. We need to, now that we've got a reference to that, because we're just treating them as, this is just literally a quick reference, so we can do the rest of this. And you can see here, we're getting just an A actor reference. Well, here it's an A character, but we can just pretty much follow the same logic we've got here. So if not is valid player character, oh, okay, so that doesn't work. So anyways, in this case, we're just going to go to grab this portion, and instead of actor, we're going to pass in a player character, because we want to use that interface for everything. And this is one of the reasons why we use that interface. As you can see here, we're using the player character is of an A character class, where up here everything is an A actor. Both of these work because ultimately we're doing everything through the save actor interface. So if enter equals null pointer, we've got some bad juju, throw a log error and return. Otherwise, we want to, we're not worried about getting the GUID because we know that's not valid. So we just want to go straight into grabbing the save actor data and then going through with the memory writer stuff. So we're going to do all of this, copy that. And there's going to be some errors here because we need to switch from actor to player character. I honestly thought player character was a valid one. So to include, actually I'm just going to do this the easy way, character. Go to definition, character.h in game framework. Okay. Include game framework, character.h. There we go. All right, so in here you can see we've done pretty much the exact same thing. We're getting the raw save actor data, and we're going through doing the serialization. We're iterating through all the components. If the component doesn't use the save actor interface, we don't care. If it does, we're just going through and saving all the information there. And then the last thing we need to do here is a player data equals what we have is the SAD value there, or SAD. And that's gathering the player data. And we now have the player uniquely saved. Now we need to uniquely load the player as well. So we will create another function for that, void set player data, and create that definition. And it's going to be very similar to what we've done with the load function. Oh, where is it in here? The load game, sorry. It is in there. It's just been truncated. So what we are going to do here is pretty much the same thing. It is going to be grabbing a copy of the player character, or a pointer to the player character. We're then going to get the interface. Actually, we're just going to do all of this. And then, sorry, a couple episodes since we've done this, and my brain is completely melting as to what we need to do. It's right here. So we don't need to worry about this portion here, because we know the player character doesn't have a valid GUID. We already have this, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But now we want to start working here. So minimize that. So we want player character dot set actor transform to player data dot actor transform. So we've now set them in the right position. Now we need to apply the serialization. So it is what we've been doing before. fmemory reader, pcmem reader, and that's player data dot byte data. And again, actually I'm just going to do this here. Copy and paste. pcmem reader, AR, and this is player character dot serialize. And then once we've done that, we're going into the actor component portion. So we can just copy and paste this. Now I do understand we could leave this all as using the same functionality, but because player characters respawn like at a code level, the actor is destroyed when you reload the game, things like that. This I found is the best approach. So let's just go through and fix these couple of syntax errors that we've now just created. And that should be all of them. For each of the components in the player character, if it doesn't involve that, we do that. Otherwise, we get a pointer to the interface. And we've got that same potential issue here if we have more than two components of the same class. If they don't, we iterate through. If it does, we... Yep. Okay, so let's build this quickly, and we'll see how this goes. And with that, while this is building, I'll actually run through a few things with you guys for a change. So if this is everything's working fine here, which I hope it is, this is actually going to be the end of the episode. This is going to be a shorter one, just simply because I wanted to do the final cleanup on this save game portion of everything here. What we will be moving on to next episode is going to be player interactions. And that's like the player character interacting with the world. It's also going to be used for things like opening doors, picking up items, things like that. And it's the very basics of this initial interaction interface that we're going to be working on. So built fine. We're just going to launch the editor and make sure all of this... Nope, we need to... There's one thing we need to do before we can do that. So close the editor. We set up the set player data function, but we never actually called it. So load game. And some of you may have realized that in the logic, oh, you forgot to call the function. Again, it's why you build frequently and you test frequently. So we go through, and then just in here, we want to add set player data. So we are going to also want to quickly throw in some breakpoints on these two new functions we've added, just to make sure. And for ease, actually, I'm going to because right now we only have the player character. I'm going to throw a breakpoint there. We should, in theory, never hit this because it's right after the is it a valid GUID. So let's quickly rebuild and try again. But yeah, anyway, so back to what I was saying. The next few episodes are going to be covering the interaction interface and the basic setup around that. It's not going to be an inventory portion yet. It is just going to be the interaction. That's going to be for things like opening doors and such like. So, anyways, okay, let's quickly test this out. Start the game. Is valid. Breakpoint instruction. If save actor ID isn't valid, why are you not? Oh, that's sorry. We called something when we didn't need to. That's actually, this is a mistake on my part. So begin play. We don't need to call that. Comment that out quickly, and we'll try again. And yes, as I've mentioned in pretty much every episode, these are the sort of mistakes that I'm leaving in because, as I've said every other time, everyone makes mistakes. Nobody is a perfect developer. Otherwise, we'd never have a need for more than like 10 or 20 developers because if they're perfect, they could knock things out real quick. So I want to leave all these mistakes in so everyone can see these mistakes are made. This is how you can fix them. In this example, it's like I just realized, oh yeah, I'm calling a function I don't need to. So anyways, we're going to let the health and hunger and thirst run down, get rid of some stamina, make sure this is all working. We'll go to our normal spot here. We're going to hit save. Say we're gathering the player data. We have a player character. We have a valid interface. We don't have anything specific for this yet, because there's no unique player specific data we've had to add. So this right now is just empty. We've got the actor's location. There's no component data. No, it wasn't spawned. Technically it was, but it's a player character. And we have the class defined. So now we're going through and serializing our byte data. And you can see in here it's added quite a bit. Now we're going to go through our actor components, collision cylinder. I'm actually going to add a breakpoint there just to continue through. The current actor component is the stat line. We have our save component data there populated through with the raw data we need for our stats. So I'm just going to hop through all of this. This should all work fine. Is this valid? Yeah, save actor data. Yep. Okay. And then we're just going to go back to here. So player data is now populated with what we've just pulled from player character. Gather player data. Save game. We missed another step. So let's drop out of that. So this is, again, an example of why you test frequently, you debug, and you throw breakpoints on your code. Because you can walk through and find problems, because like, oh, if we weren't following through the code, like, well, why is the player not saving? Why is the player not saving? Well, right here you can see, well, I never told it to save. So save game object, set player data, and we need to do the exact same thing here. Go to definition, player data equals save game object, get player data. So one of the many things I like to do, and you've seen me do it quite a lot, is the breakpoints, the debugging. It's honestly, and I'm not using this as a dig on other developers, because I understand programming can be easy for some people and not for others. But one of the key skills I found that is, I want to say, lacking in a lot of newer developers is debugging. It's actually my specialty, is going through and finding out where's a problem in the code. Why isn't this working? That's what I do with my career. I fix other people's code. But anyways, so now we've got that. Let's try this again. So let's run forward and just jump a bit. I'm going to park myself in the corner up here. Save the game. Okay, we've got that. Continue. Continue. We've got that there. So we've done that. Okay, we're setting the player data. We're good there. Save game object. All that. Save game to slot. Cool. So continue through here. You can see we're standing right on the edge. Let's go run over here. Use some more stamina. And then hit 9 to load. Okay, so set player. Got a pointer to the player character. We've got their interface. There was no errors. We set their location. We're deserializing the information. And we're going through all of the components on the actor. And there we go. We're on the stat line. Interface isn't null. Okay, we've gone through and we're doing that there. Raw data isn't empty, so we're going to go drop into this. I'm going to drop in here properly. So parts, we'll just make sure. Okay, so I actually dropped in here for a change. So we can see our source is 100, 101 with our separator. So we'll go through this once. Okay, something's not working there. Let's see. No, there we go. It's the same thing I found. Like, a lot of the time, it's not. Yeah, okay, we're just going to drop out of that. So Shift 11. And continue. Continue. And you can see we're back up here. I'm actually going to retest this, but it looked like it worked. So we're pretty much equal. 9, let's drop these out, continue. And there you go. Yeah, so everything seems to be working there correctly. So with that, this episode I am going to end here. We've covered the basics and got our save game system set up. As we add new things in, we will be coming back to the save game because obviously, like with our stat line component, there's certain things that don't save properly. We need to add custom logic and behavior for. And next episode, we are going to be starting with the interaction portion. Actually, no, I'm going to correct myself here. Next episode, just because it's in here quite a lot, and it's something I do want to, again, get into the game, into the project early on. Next episode is going to be covering custom logging. And then the episode after that, we will be covering the start of our interaction system. So with that, folks, thanks for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed. As always, any comments, suggestions, or questions, anything like that, feel free to add them in the comments below. I will try to respond as best I can. And with that, thank you, and I will see you in the next episode.